Lifestyle Pirates with Big J and Adriano.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lifestyle Pirates. On today's episode, we have Thomas Knight, DJ, rave extraordinaire, extraordinaire, and Sydney icon for me as well. Growing up, a DJ I always looked up to, DJ as well. Thanks for coming on, Thomas.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. How have you been?
Been good. Busy, but good.
Oh, fantastic.
In this whole environment of COVID, I have been busy, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's been an interesting time for everyone, definitely.
Yes, indeed.
So tell us, I'm just going to jump right in. Mm-hmm. Passion for music, where did it start?
I think it was more the rave culture and the rave music. So listening to, 99.9, is it Swire FM? Not Swire FM, that's CPX. New Wave FM, 99.9. And so while in high school, in about 94, 95, always listening to this music every Friday, Saturday night will come on. Of course, it was no party for us because we're only under 18. Yeah. So sitting in my mum's house in the lounge room and just pumping up the stereo, and all of a sudden this track comes on, and it just changed my entire life. And that was Master Plan, Die Witness. Oh. And it's just like the energy behind it, the crowd, the vocals, everything. And I remember just going back to school and going back to my friend going, I've heard the best track ever. Yeah. This is it. And from there, it was like I've always loved that music. But in high school, I used to always collect a lot of CDs and tapes and everything. So when people used to ask for music, they used to come to me and say, can you make me a mixtape? Yeah. I was like the Molly Meldrum off my high school.
Yeah, nice. Were you making a lot of mixtapes for girlfriends back in the day, mate?
Definitely.
Yeah, of course, man. That's how you got them.
When you used to press pause and play at the same time.
Yeah. That's right.
I was going to ask, did you used to get one tape record and put it next to another one? So if you played it on the radio, just turn it around and just hit record?
No, it wasn't that dodgy.
No? Oh, man, I did that.
But I did. I did start DJing off a tape deck and one turntable. That the turntable did not have pitch control, but the tape deck did.
Well, how does that even work?
So you would put the vinyl on and play it at normal speed, and then you would actually put the tape in, cue it all up, and then you would move the pitch on the tape, and the tape would go up and down according, and then to the song of the vinyl on the vinyl, and then when that played, you put the vinyl on, and if the vinyl was too fast, you would slow down the tape,
man,
or vice versa, or whatever, speed up the tape, and it was just that we only had that one pitch control until finally I saved enough money to buy two tape machines, two turntables with pitch control, which is good.
What were your first turntables?
Linear Tech. And
Well, I've never even heard
that. Even a
belt driven. That kind of just pushing. It's like. I think I saved. I think it was about $1,200 or $1,000 for a pack with two turntables and a mixer, and I bought that in. I think it was 1996 or 97 I think it was. So 1996 was all on tape deck and a turntable and CDJs. Not CDJs, sorry, Discmans.
Yeah, Newmarks or something? Or no, Discmans, Sony's.
And so I used to find the songs that had the same pitch control and go, these two songs go together, so I can press play at that exact microsecond and it'll be on beat.
Yeah.
What I love about this conversation is we're going to have a generation of listeners going, what's a tape? What's a vinyl? What's a pitch deck? We're going to have visuals.
Yeah, exactly. Here you go. This is what it is. So I used to DJ with a friend of mine from high school, DJ Panic, Alex, and we basically were teaching each other how to DJ during high school and everything. And then when it came down to 1997, when I left high school, yes, I am old, that's when we started DJing out at house parties and clubs and everything, which was really good.
How were the house parties back then?
Drunk.
Yeah.
Drunkenness. Just full-on house parties. If somebody found out there was a house party in your suburb, then everyone will be there before you know it. So I had a 16th birthday party at my mum's house. No, 17th birthday at mum's house. And I ended up inviting everybody, all these girls from Certain College and down the road as well. And my house was packed. It was, and Mum couldn't believe how many people there. The cops came down and they couldn't shut the party down, so they blocked off the streets so the cars can detour around the road. And people were just drunk on the front lawn, and in the background, in the music, The DJ was just playing stuff like Die Witness and Ultrasonic, just pumping it. It was like a rave happening in my backyard. And I was like, yes. So all my friends were like, oh, you should do more parties. You should do more parties.
Yeah.
That's what triggered off, hey,
No way.
let's do a party.
Yeah.
So when I was 18 years old, I asked Mum, can I do another house party? She's like, no way.
Yeah.
So I asked my friend's mother, okay, can I do my 18th? She's, yeah, for sure. Oh, that was a mistake.
No way. You did your 18th at someone else's party.
At my house, yeah, and it was in a cul-de-sac.
sorry.
So that was good. So we ended up overflowing into the cul-de-sac and everything, which was a great party. And people like Charlie Brown, DJ Faze, ended up all playing for me at my birthday party, which was really good. And once again, that triggered off like, you should do a party. You should do a proper party. So that led me off to that year, starting off and doing my first, I guess my second dance party ever. My first one was in 1996 as a school dance party.
Yeah. I see you did the school dance party.
I did it. So we had to...
They hired you as a promoter.
No. So I was in year 12 and we had to raise money for school formal. So I was thinking of ways to do it and everything. So I went to my teacher and said, oh, can we put a dance party on to raise money? He's like, yeah, sure. Okay, not a problem. So I organised a flyer, organised a DJ. I think we had Midas Touch DJs back in the day. And got the canteen lady to take care of all the food and the drinks and everything, organised security. And then on the day of the event, I guess you'd say, I heard my teacher, attention please, students, Mr. Rodriguez, to my office now. All the boys just like, whoa. I walked down to the office. He goes, you have a dance party under our school name and I know nothing about. I went, but you approved me. He goes, I know I approved you, but you've never come to me. Who's doing security? And I just went, just relax. It's okay. You just come to the party, you enjoy yourself. And that time,
What a gangster.
and he just went, okay. And he came down to the event, of course, and everything was perfect.
Yeah.
People were there, other schools from other, so we only invited 2 girls' schools.
Yeah.
And no other boys' school because of rivalry. And leave the girls for ourselves.
Genius.
Of course. And then we raised money, and the money was there that took tickets, the price for the tickets for the formal down. Yeah. So it went from, I think it was $80 to $55 per person.
Oh, nice.
So all that money we raised and everything, it was really good. And that's one thing I was like, wow, I can do this. This is really good.
Good. Did you get good feedback from the principal?
Yeah, I got like a letter, a recommendation letter saying that how well I organised everything and
Your first reference.
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
That would have been the weirdest letter he would have ever had to write.
So then then the following year I did a party at my local suburb library hall.
Yeah.
And I said to him it was a birthday party. And I put flyers everywhere around the school, get a phone call from police saying, or counsellor saying, you're running a dance party tonight. I went, no, I'm not. I'm running a birthday party. I went, well, we can see flyers everywhere. I went, well, that's not my party. He went, well, it's the same party, not in the same hall. I went, well, it's not my party. Yeah. I'm having a birthday party. And then I got a call from my principal. So I'm already left high school. So been a year later, a principal rings me up and goes, you're running a party because I just got a phone call from the council saying that they want a reference. And I gave them a reference and they said, that's fine then. So because of my principal at the time, he referenced to the council, said he's a good student. He does everything perfect. So they let the party go.
Legend.
And then anyway, the party happened and it was like 500 people. The party was called Full House.
Yeah.
And
it would have been.
It was DJ, myself, and my best friend Gumby.
Yeah.
And then a special guest DJ Illusion, which is a rave DJ back in the day. And so I just played all the Wild FM music. I think Gumby played more of the R&B stuff, and then Illusion played the rave. Cops came down, tried to shut it down. He goes, whose birthday is it? And then I just pulled the first girl and went, it's her birthday. And she's like, hi. He goes, oh, happy birthday. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. And it was a little happy birthday sign on there. And
oh, yes, done proper.
That's done. They left and everything was organised properly. And then the next day my sister goes, I work 3 months to earn the money you earned last night. She goes, you earned over $5,000. I went, I earned $5,000. This is it. This is amazing. I can do this. Yeah. Yes. So that's it. I decided to defer uni.
Yeah.
So I was doing TAFE. So I did a certificate in childcare.
Yeah.
So I finished that in the 97 and in 98 enrolled uni, deferred, and then just went straight into promoting and DJing for the next 23 years of my life.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So from that's when you started under 18s events.
Yes. So my under 18s, because we're all the people that came to the first one was that 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
I just turned 18. So I knew everyone that was that age group.
Yeah.
From there, we did another party at the Full House 2 at Parramatta Town Hall. And halfway through the night, the amplifiers blew. Everything got shut down. People had to walk out, and the party was cancelled. Really, kind of deterred me off doing events at all. I was like, "This is the worst thing ever."
Yeah.
But then I was like, "Well,
What sort of liability you got there?
Well, at that time, I didn't. So it's more like we had public liability, of course. We had to always get it, but in case anything happens. But if something like that happens, it's basically people will just go, "Oh, I want my money back." But then they left, and there was no social media or internet or any way they can report back saying that was the worst party because that wasn't really around then.
Yeah.
Like internet came out in 1996, and we didn't really start. I didn't think I had an email until about 98, 99. So
Yeah. It's not like when it kicked off, it was working properly.
that's right. Exactly. So from there, from 1998, and then I just kept on doing under 18s. I worked along with promoters like Joe Court, as you were saying before, DJ Elroy, who's Adam Stavalis, who in the rave scene at that time, Michael Phoenix, and helped them put a lot of parties on like Nitrogen, Passion, and Nitrogen was happening in Chatswood. Passion was in Castle Hill, the big hill centre and everything, Barcelona Stadium, and working along with other promoters, which are friends, and we ended up opening up a company called Magic Entertainment. I think I had a business card somewhere I found it. I was like, wow, this is an old card. Where we did under 18s, like Climax under 18s, and that was at Castle Hill at the Skate Tell and everything. So while we're doing that, I was doing smaller under 18s as well, Club Marconi, and started off at doing under 18s at Edamoga in Campbelltown. And that was called Miracle Under 18s with Sam G. So I was like doing a lot with a lot of people and doing a lot of events. It was just keeping me busy because as soon as an event finished, I had something else to do straight away, and I couldn't sit still, and I needed to do something.
So what was it like to organise a party back then? Like, so when you had to choose the bill, choose the venue, like it's not like it would have been now. Or like it is now. Well, now it doesn't even exist in COVID times. But like, how do you choose DJs? How do you choose the venue and everything else like that? How do you hit your target market?
Definitely hit the venue is the first one. Like, where's the demographic of the kids going to come? So because I live in the western suburbs, I found promoting in the western suburbs easy. So I would pick venues such as Club Marconi, which was more that Indenza Park, Fairfield area, and then you had Campbelltown, we did Edamoga, and then we just target all the areas around there. But the way of promoting, it was very hard. There was no internet. So you had to print flyers and poll posters and mini posters for the shops and everything, and literally stand outside schools. While school finishes, you hand out flyers and everyone's just walking out and getting a flyer, and you have like one or two people, one at the front gate, one at the back gate, and then you time it 5-10 minutes, and then you leave and you go to another school quickly, and you hit about 2 schools every afternoon. Every afternoon for 3 weeks, you're out there handing out flyers. As time went on and I started getting older, I started feeling creepier and creepier. I was like,
you don't do that now, do you?
No, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm a 23-year-old man standing outside handing out a flyer to a 16, 17-year-old. This is weird. So then I started getting younger promoters who would work and get paid, and they started handing out flyers. And of course, you get told to get kicked off the premises and everything. But the next day, you just come back and hand out flyers. But that's the only way to get there. You couldn't promote to kids. You couldn't tell them over any other way unless you stand outside the music store on Thursday night and some like all the shopping centres and everything, and hand out flyers to them directly. But besides that,
I
you couldn't
remember flyer times as well. I'm pretty sure I helped Joe Cord hand out some flyers
Probably.
sometimes. It's probably for one of your parties as well. Far out. So where'd you go from that?
From the under-18 scene, because I had a love for rave music and club music, I went straight into clubs. And started doing smaller clubs such as the Icebox.
Thursday Night Delights.
It was more Friday nights. It was, and I teamed up with promoters such as Aladdin. So he was running Aladdin Entertainment at the time. So this is Rod Richards. And from there, we just clicked it. We just perfect match. We were running events, smaller events. It was boutique. It was good. It wasn't something that we had to spend a lot of money in. People came, enjoyed themselves, and that was it. I tried really hard to get into the rave scene. But that was a hard thing because back then the rave scene was more of a roster of promoters. You had to be an established promoter to do a party in the rave scene, and you were only allowed a certain amount of events or dates a year. So we would say the rave date book, which was monopolized by a couple of the big time promoters.
Yeah.
So you had all the big parties going along. You had Utopia and Hyperspeed and everything.
Stuff,
So in 2002, I finally got my date. Yes, finally got a date. I can do a rave, and I did a party called Children of the Revolution, which is somewhere here. Here it is.
I love the fact you brought your flyers along with you as well. That's so cool.
Saturday,
Is that the first party?
Saturday, 1st of June, 2002.
Just another revolution.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I named it.
So how did that feel, getting the shot of the rave scene?
It was nerve-wracking because you went from
And this wasn't an under 18s party?
No, it was an open age.
This is
So it was
proper.
anyone from 15 up to whatever age you want.
Yeah.
But it was completely different because an under 18s event, you have more of a venue hire, of course. You don't have to worry about anything else when it comes to production or anything because you got the venue that's got production in there. Or if you do, it's a simple hire. The bar takes care of itself. They provide security. You basically promote. Kids walk in, they dance, and that's it.
Yeah.
With the rave party, everything is empty. You've got a shell of a venue, so you have to organise everything from fencing to security, public liability, first aid, bar staff, the bar, the water,
Production.
food, everything they had to. Then you got production on top, and then you have to worry about the flyers, the promotions, the marketing, the DJ's set times, and the most important thing was the venue itself. Finding a venue that you know that's not going to get shut down. Because going from an under 18s where it's 7 to midnight, it's fine. Any venue can do that. Finding a venue that's going to start 10 p.m. and finish at 6 a.m. in the morning, that's the hard thing. So we were always looking for warehouses and just venues that will basically accept us. So this venue that we used was found by a friend of mine who was on a train and he was going past Marrickville and he looked over and goes, "That's a great rave venue." So he told another promoter. Another promoter used it for a party, and then I rang up all my friends like, "I need a venue for this party. I don't have a venue. I've launched this party. I don't have a venue. I've done the typical rave promoters like just shove it anywhere."
Yeah.
So with that, I rang up my friend and he said, "Oh, just use my venue in Marrickville. I found it." And I was like, "Well, didn't another promoter use it?" He goes, "Yeah, but it's like I found it, so it's all good." Anyway, we'd end up doing pie, and that's when it started the whole rave politics war stuff. Like,
So was there a bit of a kind of, you couldn't use the same venue as someone else?
that's correct.
Right, okay.
As soon as somebody basically had a venue, that's my venue, but there was no real contracts in place. Right?
No.
Yeah.
Didn't
So
think
anyway,
there would be.
so I put this party on in the venue, and of course, it started like, "Oh, you're using my venue." I was like, "Well, I need to use this venue because I can't get shut down." Rah rah rah. Anyway, it wasn't really that bad, but the party happened, and it went right through to 6 a.m. Everyone was happy, but it was just so financially stressful, workload stressful because it was a party that I had to worry about everything from police to people taking drugs at a party, rave party going for 8 hours instead of 5 hours. All these things had to come in place, which I had no idea what to do.
Yeah.
So when you talk about the financial side of things, are you outlaying all the cash up
Yes.
front? Like, how does that work?
Well, at the beginning is always all my money.
Yeah.
It's you have to get flyers, you pay for flyers up front and fencing and everything. You have to pay everything up front. And of course, the most amount of money that you had to pay for was 3D World.
Yeah.
So a simple ad in 3D World would be something like $3,000,
What?
$3,500 for a double page ad that will last 1 week, and $3,500 these days on Facebook. Oh my goodness, I can get so much for $3,500.
So much coverage, yeah.
Oh, I don't even think I spent that much on the big scale events, and this was one advertising. So I would have to spend all that money, and all the money that I would make from under 18s, I would save and put my rave parties on.
Yeah.
And that's when I lost all my money in the rave scene because
Really?
you just couldn't make money. So a big party like this was, how much was this party? $27.50.
The decimal place, I love it.
And you've dropped
The,
dropped $3,000 advertising that, and then you've got the production, you've
That's
got everything
right.
else you've just talked about.
So just there, you need like over 100 people just to break even on that.
and
advertising.
how many did the venue hold?
I think it was about 800 people, but we only got about 350.
Yeah.
So you can do the math. So but with that, I was more excited that I did a rave.
Yeah.
Finally did a rave party, and I could have called it quits then. Happy, yeah, I did a rave party in my life, and this is the only fly I could hold in my life. Finally, I got another date, and it was on a Friday night. And then I ended up doing a party called Fantasia.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be a club event. So I booked in Millennium Club, I think it was, in the Cross. I think it's now Hugo's or something, or the Club. I think it's called the Club. And that was on the Friday. The Wednesday they had strippers there, and on a Thursday I got a phone call from the owner saying, "Unfortunately, you can't have your party because the stripper touched herself inappropriately." And there was people who are like undercover there, and they've shut the club down for the weekend because they have to go through all these kind of rules. And I was like, "You're kidding me." So Thursday come, my party's tomorrow. I've sold about 400 tickets, and I didn't have a venue.
And this is still pre-social media.
Of course, yes. So the person who did so the person who then designed my flyer for this party, which is it's called Fantasia Heaven and Beyond. And you get I think it's $25.
Goku.
$25 with a free CD as well. So the person who designed my flyer, she said, "Oh, I got a friend who owns a wedding reception hall in Padstow." I went, "Okay." She gave me his number, called him up, went to see the venue, went, "Done, I'll take it." I think it was like $1,000 or something.
Yeah.
So Friday morning, Thursday night this was, Friday morning I go in, put the party production in, and it was full wedding reception hall. You can still see the sails up the top. But we ended up getting
Still got the stuff on the back of the chairs.
We ended up getting 500 people, and the people there were just perfect. They loved the party, the music was great, and it was just something that was just born that day. It was good.
And why was that? Do you think the venue added another element to it?
I think this is because every venue was a 1902 number. It kind of gave that element of mystery and a surprise where you go. So it didn't matter where you went as long as the party happened.
So I've got to ask. So you used to ring up on the night to find out where it was. Well, then you didn't really have stress of not telling people where the venue was because you only find out in the night.
Yeah, you find out at night, but you if you didn't have a venue until then, it'd be stressful. So I will say something a little bit later on with another story for an event soon about that venue.
So I've just noticed something here. So on that flyer, you're Tom E.
I am Tommy, yes. So,
but I know you later on in the journey, which we'll come to as Thomas Knight.
Yes. So Tommy started as I went to a friend, and I love the brand Champion. Loved it. Painted everywhere. There's graffiti on my books in school. And I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to be DJ Champion of Dance.
Yeah. Oh, thank God you changed it.
Yeah. And then I went to my friend. I know.
I don't think you'd have been a successful one.
And then I went to my friend Diana, and I worked with Diana at Target. So I worked at Target in Parramatta. And I went, "Oh, what do you reckon my DJ name should be?" And she's like, "Why don't you name it Tom E? Like Tommy, but Tom E, like ecstasy kind of stuff." And I was like, going, "Oh, that's a cool name."
Yeah, look, it's stuck a lot.
and then you graphed it and went, "Hey, it looks good too."
That's it, exactly. And yeah, so that kind of stuck, and that was more all the rave kind of era and that. So there's like two parts of my life. So the first part is what we're talking about now, the raves and Tom E.
Yeah.
And the company I ran everything under was Silver Entertainment. The reason why it came out Silver Entertainment is because when I was running all the clubs in Edamoga, all the R&B clubs, yes, I put on R&B parties, they were called Silver. So,
we'll forgive you.
Yeah, it was a Silver, the ultimate R&B night. Yeah. And it was all local DJs, Nino Brown, Sefu, Motto, and it packed out 1,000 people every single month. It was the best. So everybody I used to ring and book things with, it was always like, "Hi, it's Tommy from Silver. Hi, it's Tommy." So it just stuck as Silver Entertainment.
Yeah.
So we end up using Silver Entertainment to run all the rave parties and everything, and basically registering that name for it. But anyway, after that party of Fantasia happened, I talked to all the promoters and all the DJs. Everyone loved it, and I was like, okay, well, maybe I can just ride with this and go with Fantasia and just build up Fantasia and see how big it will go. Like it's supposed to be a club show, like a monthly or bi-month, like every second month club show with 300-400 people. It wasn't going to be big at all. Like I didn't think it would be big. So the next party happened and we organised it all, and that came up with Fantasia, the ultimate 6-deck event. where we had
six turntables,
three DJs on 6 turntables, and the middle DJ had control of the other 2 DJs, so they had to put the volume up and down, and they all had to work with each other to mix in the song. So one would mix, and then he'll mix and just keep on going, and it'll go back in the circle and loop, and work perfectly. Thank you to Weaver, who stood there the whole entire night, explaining to everyone, staying there and making sure everyone was perfect, because if it wasn't for him there, I don't know what would happen.
I've done a 6 deck before and it's fucking difficult.
It is.
And this is all records as well back then.
Yeah, so no CDJs at all.
What's the BPM we're talking, like 170, 180?
170, yeah. Between 160 and 180, yes.
Right.
Starting off.
Slower, mate, you're falling asleep, boy.
That's right. So,
all right,
so anyway, we ended up doing the party, and I met a friend of mine called Rob Kernia.
Yeah.
And he was introducing me, and he's like, I want to do a party. I went, well, why don't you join forces with me and we'll do Fantasia together? He's like, but it's yours. I went, no, it'll be ours because I've only done one event. Let's do it together. I go, look, I'll organise everything, but you can just take care of the venue because I hate looking for venues.
Yeah.
And then straight away he goes, I know a venue. I went, what? He
Your job's done.
Yeah, he was working at Castle Hill at the Bolo, and somebody came up and he goes, oh, can you bartend for me? And he's had his RSA. He said, yeah, I can do that. So he went down to these warehouses in Homebush, and he was a bartender there. And it was this big industrial warehouses where they do all the film shoots for movies and everything. So that's the first place he goes, let's go there. Seeing the guys there and started, talking all the bullshit, saying, oh, we want to do a birthday party here, and we just wanted, and he goes, you guys want to do a rave, don't you? He goes, just cut the bullshit, you want to do a rave. He goes, oh, yeah, he goes, all right. He goes, yep, you can take that venue number 6. And if the cops come, he goes, tell them it's a birthday party. And I'm like, you guys are the coolest guys ever. This is the best.
Far out.
So we ended up doing this party at this warehouse. Later on, many years later, I found out that was the Sanctuary venue that they tried to get Chester and G-Wiz and all. They tried to get this venue, Peter Tribe, tried to get this venue for a party called Sanctuary, which never happened. Council would not allow it to happen. We ended up getting it, and we ended up getting 1,500 people to this party.
Whoa.
People like Craig DeVita came down, set up lasers for me and helped me set up, which was just amazing. All these people started coming in and supporting the party and the scene. Weaver or Sway were there, Pulsar was there selling drinks at the bar for me, and we had one first aid officer and we had 2 toilets.
1,500 people.
1,500 people. We weren't expecting 1,500 people. I'm getting phone calls from shops saying, "Oh, we sold out. We got people wanting to buy tickets." And so my partners and I were running down to the shops because we couldn't just go online going, "Oh, up,
up
just check out Ticket Tech or Mosh
We
Tix
literally
or
had to go. You need to drive to Chatswood. You're driving to the Shire. You go to Parramatta. Here's tickets. Go now." And on the day of the event, people are still going out to the shops and putting tickets in to sell the tickets. So we ended up selling, I think I put 1,200 tickets as a joke, and we ended up selling 1,200 tickets online, getting 300 people on the door.
As a joke.
Or something like that. Yeah, it's I think it was something like that. It was like 1,000 tickets at pre-sale. I'll just put 1,000 tickets, it's even number, and ended up selling the remaining tickets on the door. And then the cops came down, shut it down. They were going, we're shutting you down. There's too many people. Where's your first aid? First aid was there. And then Dave, the security guard, said, okay, shut it down. And me, I don't even know how old I was, 23, he was like, oh, no, Dave, what are you doing? I'm about to cry. And Dave's like, I've got it. Just relax. Go on, sir. You can shut the party down. But when you shut it down, you're dealing with 1,500 people on the streets, not us.
Yeah.
And then the cop looked at Dave and just went, pointed his finger at him and turned around and walked away. Got all the cops got in the car and they just drove off. Yeah. And I was like, what just happened? Yeah. So
that's fucking fair though. Mate, you got 1,500 people. I ain't fucking dealing with that.
And I just looked at Dave and I just went, you're kidding me. The next week we had to have a meeting at the Auburn police station. And then there was a new sergeant in there, and first thing is, I just want to apologise for the policemen's behaviours and everything, and the way they treated you and all that stuff. And the sergeant came in and goes, you know what, to my security guys, you know what? You're a smart ass. You're a fucking smart ass. If you didn't say those words to me, we would have shut you down. But I'm not going to deal with 1,500 kids on the streets. So you're lucky the party happened. So that all happened. And then we ended up getting police approval to do the parties there from now on. And I couldn't believe it. I was sitting there in Auburn Police and he goes, you run a good show. Everything's in place. Your public liability, your risk assessment, your security guards are amazing. They've got proper licenses. Nothing's a problem. So you can run your events there. I could not believe my luck. So Fantasia was then born of going, this is it. This is the warehouses. This is what we're going to do.
Let's go to post-event high though, because we've done a few events in the past. When you did your first Fantasia, and then everyone's gone, the bills are paid, the tunes are, the records are slowing down. Like, how did that feel to just go?
We done it.
How was that?
It wasn't until the next one where it really hit me, and that was Come Into My Dream.
Yeah.
So Fantasia, and that was
Come Into My Dream.
And that was named after Weaver's track. So Weaver just produced this track, Come Into My Dream, and we thought, you know what, I'm going to name the party after this track to promote it and everything. And I remember the venue ended up getting, I think it was like 1,800 people, and I stood up in the upstairs room looking down, and a friend of mine came behind me and she goes, you must be so proud. And I just looked at the sea of people and went, this is a huge number for an underground party. We don't get 1,800 people on a call up on the night. Let's go. It's 500 people, 600 people. Maybe if you're good, close to 1,000, but this was 1,800 people to it. So we ended up creating the biggest underground party that Sydney has seen pre the 90s, where they were huge. Okay, let's try this again.
Yeah.
So we ended up going again.
So did you feel proud though? Just to
so
answer
proud,
my question?
so proud. Like, that was it. We made a mark. There was people like, I can't wait for the big parties, Utopia, Hyperspeed, Fantasia. Boom, my name was there.
Yes.
I was like, you're kidding me. And then all of a sudden, you go to Raise, everyone was wearing Fantasia shirts.
Yeah.
Girls wearing hot pants with the F on the bum, and everything. It was just like,
You made a brand.
You made a brand. People were taking photos and putting up. And then this is when eChild came in.
Yeah.
And then on the back wall with all the flyers, it was just Fantasia flyers and pole posters and everything. And we went, this is it. This is great. So we ended up doing more parties, and we started being creative and started doing Laser Nation, where we had 22 lasers in there. And I just needed to do more lasers. Everyone knows more lasers. And that was
You do love a laser.
We ended up getting.
I was actually going to bring that up.
We ended up getting 2,500 people, and that was the biggest Fantasia. I just stood there and went, you're kidding me, this is 2,500 people here at Fantasia. And I felt like every single time that we did something at the warehouses, it was great. It was perfect. There wasn't people there. The cops came, they put the vest on, they walk in, they come out, they start laughing, they go, it's funny in there.
Yeah.
Again, everything's all good, thumbs up to me, and they walk away.
It's funny in there.
Then we thought we'll go bigger and bigger. So I started doing Fantasia the Carnival, and that was at the Sydney Showgrounds. Ended up getting 1,800 people, but the cost of the showgrounds was so expensive. From a $4,000 venue to a $20,000-$30,000 venue. Production was double the size, and we just couldn't get the numbers. We were only getting numbers for an underground party. So we reverted back to the warehouses again.
Niche, yeah.
And then I thought, okay, let's try this again. Let's go to the entertainment center. So we did Fantasia, the Art of Illusion at the entertainment center, and had like shitload of DJs on there.
Wow.
Every single local DJ that you can think of was on there. Amber Savage, Nick Fish, to all the boys, Hayes and Team
Hazy.
Rocket.
Shout out to Christian Brothers Lucian.
So
Whoa. I've just seen your picture. What's with the goatee? What's with the goatee and the earring, brother?
I know. I had to click to
God, I remember that. I remember that era.
So events happen like this. So we had Art of Illusion, where we had a magician up on stage dancing and doing everything. And once again, that party only got 1,500 people, lost a lot of money. So it kind of makes you go, you want to go big, but you can't because you're not getting the numbers.
Yeah.
But you have such a good brand that everyone loves, but yet when you go bigger, they're not there. It actually reduces numbers. So we just thought we'll go back to normal and stay Fantasia as an underground party.
Do you lose a bit of the romance as well, going to the big venues and the big parties? And
Yes and no. You get that rush of adrenaline of like you were doing something really big.
yeah.
And all I ever wanted to do was do a party at the Cooters Bank Arena,
Yeah.
which was Superdome back in the day. Like to walk into Utopia and seeing 4,000, 5,000 people or 6,000 people on the dance floor just screaming with glow sticks. And I remember walking in and Baxter was playing that Make It Funky.
Yeah.
Like, Make It Funky.
Yes.
I was seeing these going, you're kidding me. This is amazing. And that's the level you want to go to. You want to try to go, well, this if they can do it, we can do it kind of stuff. But not realizing the brand was completely different. It wasn't a big commercial brand. It was an underground rave party. And that's the way I had to look at it. And it was until 2006 when we did our last party, and that was called the Masquerade Ball. And that's when the music style changed. It was going from happy hardcore to morning anthems to hard style, and the people that were coming more lads, ice, the drugs started coming in. So people started wigging out on ice, and it wasn't as much euphoria or ecstasy in there.
It's more aggression.
So it was, and I just went, I don't want to be here. I was at my own party, I don't want to be here anymore. This is disgusting. It's yuck. Everyone who went there loved it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the right feeling. The love had left. The whole rave scene started changing, shifting, and that was that era where happy hardcore broke off from the rave scene, and it went from not rave music, it went, this is hardstyle, this is morning anthems, this is trance, and this is happy hardcore, and it just separated.
Yeah. Right.
So that's when we found it really hard to go, well, we can't put on raves anymore because it's there is no more raves.
Yeah.
So there were still little tiny parties, but they weren't getting in. That's when the rave scene started slowly dying out. And
It's a sad day.
Yeah, it was.
And also, people grow up, they have kids, they have families, they buy houses.
That's right.
They haven't got the disposable that they used to have, and life changes.
And I would still go.
You're sitting there looking at the flyers going, so when are we doing it?
Yeah, 100%, mate.
So after that, it was every weekend without fail. Even to this day, somebody will come up to me going, when's the next Fantasia? I'm like, if I had $1 for everyone who said that to me, I would be able to pay Fantasia and do it for free. So finally I went, you know what? Everybody's over 18. They're not young anymore. It's 2008. I'm going to put one more Fantasia on. And that was the over 18s edition at the Metro Theatre. Yeah. So that was how all the DJs, like even DJs like Captain Kirk, Paul Holden, rest his soul, everyone would play there. And it was a good, fun party. People reminisced, and that was it. It was like the end of Fantasia. And even though we said goodbye to it, I went on the mic and said, see you guys, Fantasia, we'll be back in 10 years, as a joke. We're back in 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it again, but back in for 10 years. And funny enough, we were back basically 10 years later. I was like, so I took the proposal to Rod and said, I want to do a Fantasia, and I'm only going to do a party with you. That's it. And I spoke to my old partners, and they went, we don't want anything to do with it. You can do the party. We're more than happy for you to take it, the brand. So Rod and I ended up doing a party, but we wanted to do it for the older school, like the 40-year-old people. The people who went. So we ended up getting DJs, Die Witness, Ultrasonic, Public Domain. And only 2 years ago, is that 2 years ago now? We ended up running a 1,200 people Fantasia at the Fox Studios, and it was amazing. Loved it. Toby Matrix, kept saying out of all the Fantasias, that was the best. I went, kidding me? It's just the vibe.
Yeah.
Shane Toon wrote a post on Facebook and said, it doesn't matter because it's not 90s or the early 2000s, because but what I went to was Fantasia. I can't explain it any better because it was Fantasia. Because the people there, the love, the music and everything was just reminiscing of what Fantasia was all about. And I was like, that's exactly what we wanted to create. Yeah. So the plan for Fantasia, who knows? Like I'm never going to say that I'm never going to be that promoter like Rod, Eki Thump.
This is the final one.
The final one. 10th time. It's always open, and we had so much fun, and it's just one of those things like, but who do you get for the old school DJs? It's there's kind of not that many anymore that you can kind of bring out.
Yeah, I'd imagine they don't all spin anymore either.
No. So a lot of you just produce or retired, or it's very hard to get very old school DJs. So even Malaka Lee was saying, this might be my last time to Australia. I'm like, do not announce that, do not say that, because I know in 10 years' time when I say come back, you will come back as, yeah, probably.
Yeah,
okay, so you just don't say it. So anyway, so that was it for Fantasia and the rave scene and everything. And
so why do you think it was so good back then?
The people.
Yeah.
It was all the DJs, and it wasn't me that created Fantasia, it was the DJs that did. They were involved in Fantasia. You would see the week of the event in the warehouses. We would sleep at the warehouses setting up, and as I said before, there was people like Pulsar at the bar selling the water. Sway, Weaver, Matrix, all the DJs were on here, Technical Twins, Simsy, Destiny, especially Dave PSI, who was always supportive, Hayes, and all these DJs here, they were there nights before setting up, and then they were there cleaning up with a broom. They will post up online on eChild. They will go hand out flyers. They'll wear the shirts. Every single club gig they'll go to, they'll be fan, and they would be supporting that brand. Even Ravers said, "Why does the DJs get so much behind Fantasia, but not the other parties?" Like you will see some DJs promoting other parties, but every single DJ was promoting Fantasia because it was theirs. So because of that, then everyone else who came to the party felt love and welcomed and everything, and it was just that old school vibe back into the events.
Yeah. Do you think that nobody had phones on a dance floor as well? Would have
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. It was that thrill of I'm there for the music. I'm there for seeing my friends. I'm not there for social media or anything. Yeah, definitely. The whole phone industry thing has changed.
Yeah.
Club in the way. That's a whole new art to talk about.
Oh, it's a massive thing. But I want to talk about it because we spoke about it before we jumped on. I think it was Lane 8 that when he does his shows, he's like, no social media.
Is that the stickers on the phone? Is that did he do
Yeah.
that? Or,
It does. Also, nightclubs in Ibiza do that.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Which I think is just such a great idea. Such a great idea.
No,
I
definitely.
mean, we kind of joke when we go for dinner at Bistecca. You know, you put your phones in the box.
Yes.
They're like, look, you're present. Have your T-bone, your glass of red.com. You know, relax. You do have a better experience.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're dancing, hanging out with your mates, you want to be there. It's not about
right.
taking a picture.
That's right. Exactly. Exactly.
Not that you wanted your picture taken when I was at Fantasia, but
So so the only way to see your photos and everything is if you found Darren Hart.
yes, good old Darren Hart.
On that dance floor, which you can't miss him, and he would go there, Darren, take my photo, and he'll take your photo, and before you know, it's on unrealphotos.com. Photos are also up on eChild, and if you're lucky, you get them on Overdrive as well.
Yeah, I remember that. The back of 3D World as well. Mashed.
And then if you did an ad in 3D World, you get back in the sushi page, I think it was. So I found this old photo. It's just one of the productions at the Sydney Showgrounds. And I was like, oh, wow, this is the photo quality.
Yeah. Potato cam.
That's right, exactly. So all that happened in 2008. That was it. I decided to pack it all up and finish and everything.
Yeah.
And the main reason why I packed up my rave scene and all that live is because I got offered a job. And that job was to be the head promoter and marketing manager for Sublime Australia.
Wow. Icon.
So I remember that phone call getting from Simon Page saying, oh, this is Tommy. I was like, yes, Tommy who runs Fantasia. Yes. Can you come in for an interview, please? Okay. Go down and meet them and everything, and beautiful people, both Susanna and Simon Page, and sat down and said, oh, look, we've heard a lot about you. We want to hire you, and if you can run the promotions. So met Bev Malcolm, who ran it before, and started talking to her. I knew Bev before from the events because I used to always try to pester her to play a set there.
Yeah. As a DJ does.
Yeah. And then basically we teamed up on the first night. We teamed up with Richard McNeil from Hardware, did Giuseppe Ottaviani and Paul Van Dyke, and it was like 2,500 people for my first ever Sublime.
Yeah, crack up.
And then the second one,
What a lineup.
the second one that we actually did, we call it the rebirth of Sublime. So I just had to rebrand everything. And what I did is I used my experience of the rave scene and brought all the rave DJs in Sublime. So it wasn't the normal the resident DJs, which I still had on, but instead I opened the doors and made the whole entire club a rave club. So in the middle room was trance, upstairs was trance terrace, Icon DJ was more the up and coming, and downstairs all the DJs like Matrix and Sway and all that, they got to play on the main arena a lot more often.
Yeah.
So we themed the parties and everything, and it started working out for the basically following year.
What does it feel like running Sublime?
Powerful.
Yeah, it must have.
It's the biggest club in Australia, capacity wise. But the fact that Sublime is such an iconic brand, it's such a powerful brand, it's such a beautiful name. To know that it's gone from Pitt Street in 1996, where I was, and I remember partying there, to moving to, and Simon Page did the most risky thing. He's like, I'm going to bring Sublime and Cargo and Voodoo and everything, Beat Fix all together as one night. And everyone thought he was crazy. Like, why would you make mixed breaks and house and trance and everything in one? And it worked.
Yeah.
looking through the numbers and going back through the history, there was so many people that came through that door, like 5,000 people through one night.
Yeah.
Of they're just turning in and
crazy,
out. It was crazy. I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it.
Well, my wife used to come down from Brisbane for it.
There you go.
So they would queue up outside. They'd come down on a monthly basis and queue up outside to go to Sublime.
And the best thing about Sublime was it was local DJs. Yeah. It was all the local DJs playing the best music that Johnny from One Stop would provide us. You like this song, you buy it. And basically
No fingerprint.
only you have it before you know it, there's like 50 copies at the back. Only you and Pee Wee, because we all know Pee Wee Ferris got every single song, and he was there on that Tuesday making sure. And after Pee Wee listened to it, you can listen to it. If you like it, you can buy it.
I used to love going to the record shop, when the new records used to come out. That was so cool,
So the whole rave culture, club culture wasn't just about music and dancing. It was about vinyl and buying that kind of records, going to the CD shops and buying CDs, going to BPM Records or going to Central Station Records and buying that Paul Elstak CD that just came out, or the new Prodigy CD came out. It was about streetwear, clothing, keppers and Russian clothing. And you could just go out on the street going raver. These days you're like, he either goes to a rave or he goes to the gym.
Yeah.
Don't know. Probably both.
Yeah. She's just been to the gym, but now she's having a McDonald's.
That's right. So
Diet Coke.
So that culture, and it was all about that ecstasy kind of feeling, that euphoria, MDMA feeling, and it was just it was a time in our lives that we appreciated everything, appreciated being part of that world. I was proud of going, I'm a raver.
Yeah.
I was a raver and a promoter. I never said to myself, I was never a raver. I was always both.
Yeah.
I just had the privilege of putting parties on for ravers.
Do you think a scene like that exists anymore? Or do you think we're too far away from it, boys?
No,
I think following COVID, I reckon there's going to be a window.
Yes,
where people will want to, as soon as we can, go out to party and put tunes on and just have that feeling of freedom and euphoria. I reckon there's this window where it will happen.
So Fantasia's coming back then.
I can't do it underground. I need to target a 40-year-old, so I need to actually go to him going, excuse me, come here. What did you say? What did you say, Sonny? Come to the party.
The thing is, the reason I say that is because everybody's retreated back to their memories and their good times.
Yes.
Like there's this Facebook group called Lockdown Legends.
Yes.
And everybody's just been posting pictures, videos, tunes, pictures of events they used to go to, and just they're thinking of the good times. So if it's like, if you pull the blinkers off a dog or pull the blinkers off a horse when they're running, they're like ready to go. And I think we're going to be exactly like that when we can do.
I think all the stronger promoters are going to be around. All the promoters who put on a few events are now looking for other jobs, and their passion has of course gone.
Yeah.
But people who have been in the industry for so long, this is our life. This leads up to the next story. It's in 2009. I left Sublime. Everything finished off. They kind of moved Sublime upstairs to make it a little bit more boutique. It wasn't getting numbers. So we ended up getting Sublime from 700 people weekly, which died down a lot, to about 1,200 people weekly. And then running Sublime opened the doors for me to bring in a lot of internationals and be creative with it. So I ended up doing Sublime White, Sublime Black. We had Showtech, Thrill Seekers, 4 Strings. These are the DJs that we brought in. And it was good. And I remember reading something in the mix, and somebody said, "Who's
cracking website?" It was a cracking website.
Who the hell is running Sublime these days? Whoever is running it needs an award, because wow, they're bringing so much good internationals out. And I was like, oh, that's me.
Yeah.
That's me.
Screenshot.
And the guys at Home Nightclub, they just knew how to run everything properly. They just did everything perfect. So when I wanted a international, I would then talk to somebody else in the office, can you get the visa? So they did the visa, somebody else did the accounting, somebody else did everything. To get that international wasn't hard for me to do. All I had to do is pick them up from the airport and bring them there, because there were so many people behind working in the place. So in 2009 I left, and once I left, I kind of left that rave scene. I left the under-18s, the clubs, and I just did Sublime. But once that was gone, I felt like I didn't have anything else. I didn't know what to do, and I really couldn't start Fantasia back up again, because it was it was a dead brand.
Yeah. It
was old brand, and so I felt really jaded. I felt really upset. And then I went, you know what, I'm going back to uni. I'm going to go back and finally do my Master of Teaching degree, a Bachelor of Arts degree in teaching, and that's it. So I enrolled in 2010 and started doing teaching part-time, and I worked in a childcare centre for a year. And then
That's a complete 180.
What a contrast.
yeah. So it's like also I'm a rave promoter. Just after I left Sublime, I met my my ex-wife, Laura, and all through 2010, when I was married, she kept on saying, something's wrong. And I was like, nothing's wrong. She's like, you're a bit different this time. And I was like, well, what's wrong? And she's like, I don't know. She's something. And then 2011 came in, and I finally sat down with her and said, I know what's wrong. She said, what? I need to do parties. I just need to do events. I can't do this anymore. It's just in my blood. I need to do it. I'm going insane. Yeah. And then she says, all I've ever known you my whole entire life is a promoter. And since we started dating, you're now a childcare worker and a teacher because you're a promoter. She says, I don't mind you doing parties, but just do me one thing. Don't lose the house. Yeah. As simple as that. And things changed. I wasn't a promoter living at mum's house or renting. I didn't have disposable money or anything. I had a family. I had my daughter was born in 2013, so I knew that I was looking forward to a family. Had a house, and if anything went wrong, I would lose everything. Yeah. So
stakes are different.
Yeah. So I kind of went, okay, well, I can't do anything silly. I can't do underground raves where I can break into venues and there's my name gone, whatever. So I decided to stay with uni and do uni part-time, 2 subjects a semester. And I started doing smaller club gigs like Technotronic I brought out and just small little things, which wasn't working at all. I wasn't getting the database I had was bad. I didn't have any promotions. Nobody was following me or cared who I was as a promoter because my time was done. Then I had this idea of like, where do I start again? How do I start this? And of course, you start from the very beginning, and that's Genesis.
Yeah.
That's when it became, okay, I'm going to run this as a business. I'm going to run this as a proper business. I'm going to take Tommy away from this all because that was rave. I'm going to come up with a whole new brand name of myself, a new company name for me, and then brand it in a different way. Nobody was doing trance events. Yeah. Trance was 30, 40 people on a dance floor. That was like, so I said, I'm going to run the risk. I'm just going to do this because I know the model from Sublime and I know it worked. And even though we didn't have a powerful brand like Sublime, I just thought, well, maybe I can get internationals and we can do it as a weekly Friday night, I think it was. Yeah, Friday night. Sublime wasn't running then. And so I started booking all the internationals and I went, okay, I'm going to book in these internationals to come out for these events. So I ended up getting, I think it was like 6 internationals in 10 weeks. And they were Binary Refinery, Tidy, Tritonal, Ali and Filler, and Ori Nilsson. Big names, huge names.
Froth.
Yeah. I remember Ali and Filler and I said to the club promoter, I go, I can't afford this. Ali and Filler are $10,000 nowadays, but they were 10 grand or something. And I was like, so the club promoter goes, I'll give you the 10 grand if you can just guarantee me the money will come back. And well, the money will come back, but I just won't make any money on the door because it's I need to sell out at 300 people or 330 people for it. And he goes, that's fine. He goes, the amount of money that you make on the bar from this will be good. So he ended up giving me 10 grand. Got Ali and Filler, sold out 330. Took me like 2-3 weeks to sell 300 tickets. The pie was great. Fardy, made friends with Fardy, and he was the nicest guy. Ended up playing extra hours and everything right to the morning. And then every single time I did a local night, the party would get 30, 40 people. There was nobody there. And I remember I had to be late for one of the Genesis, and my sister opened the club. And I was like, I'm on my way. And she says, don't bother coming. I've closed up. I went, it's midnight. She says, you got 10 people. I went,
far out.
So the club owner just closed. I went, you're kidding me. And of course, depression comes in. You're like going, I can't even make this happen. I can only make an event happen when it's with an international DJ. So that kind of closed the doors of Genesis. And then I spoke to a couple of the guys in Future Music, Future Entertainment, and they were touring Marcus Shorts. And I was like, I'll take Marcus Shorts. Let's do Marcus Shorts. Ended up meeting Nick Arbour. I knew Nick a long time ago. Yeah. And then Nick and I were like, well, you're your party, I think it was in the Cross. I can't remember what it was called. And I'm doing Genesis, and he's like, well, I'm going to stop my party because there's no room for 2 trance events on the same night. I was like, well, why don't we just team up and do this together? And I go, but it doesn't work with club shows. Like, we're not going to make this work. We need to have international artists. So we ended up doing Marcus Schultz and New Year's Eve, and that speaks for itself. There's a flyer around somewhere.
I think I played on that one.
Yeah, and
It was cracking night.
It was
DJ.
here we go. It was that kind of Marcus Schultz New Year's Eve. It looked like a white theme, and we ended up selling out 1,200 people. So that was basically the start.
Cracking.
My God, how cheap are tickets back then?
How much was it?
$59.
Oh my goodness! Really?
$59.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So we launched.
But it really I've got to butt in here.
Yeah.
It really does upset me hearing that, no one was really interested in local acts.
No. So even the music that the locals played, I remember having Scott Richardson, who's a phenomenal
Scott,
DJ, like just beautiful music.
Yeah. Good producer.
And even Big J and all these DJs who we know what Sydney wants, we know what they like, but we just didn't have that following,
that pull,
and that's what the trance scene's all about. The trance scene's like going, I love the music, I just don't like you.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff like, oh, you're not that good of a DJ because you don't have a name for yourself.
Yep.
And you kind of go, well, Sydney DJs rock. They know better than anyone else.
Yeah.
You got to grind it out.
Yes.
You got to grind it out. I think
you got to build the trust.
Yeah.
10 years.
So do you think? Yeah. Exactly. At least
because I think we started digital therapy. I think in back end of 2010.
Yes.
And mate, we were happy. We did it at the what was the front bar at our home? The
You did
Wolf Bar.
The Wolf Bar. I remember
So we
playing
did it first there, and mate, we were happy if we got 20 people through.
Yeah.
That was a good night.
it's my biggest party.
So
It's my biggest crowd.
so it is, but you're absolutely right. And as we kind of evolved over the years, I think we went for 6 years. You grow so slowly, like you're happy, and we kept it very small for that exact same reason
Yeah.
because unless you had an international, no one was interested.
That's right.
And it's a shame because
you just
you
want
don't
the music.
yeah.
But what I've kind of taken from that is all the people that you've so fondly spoken about. They're all on those flyers. They're all local people. They're all friends. They all put something into it. I don't feel that kind of coming through now because of that.
Well, that's right.
There's not that kind of grassroots.
See, I like
do you know what I mean?
when promoters such as yourself would put on a party. That people I would know would be there because you know the same people.
Yeah.
So that makes me want to go to your party. But if there's a trance event on that I don't know the promoter, I don't know if I would go because I don't know anybody there and I can't relate to the people there anymore or say hi to anyone. So it's more of a trance events feels like if you're not in that group, then don't go because I don't want to be there kind of stuff, where it should be all about the music kind of stuff.
100%.
So
Do you think you need to be a producer as well to make it these days?
I feel so, yes, definitely. DJ just is now someone who just plays other people's music.
Yeah.
Before was more
Shout out to Carl Cox.
Carl has his own tracks, but it's one of those things that back in the day, like Nick Fish and DJs like that, they found the music. The only way you can listen to this music is if you went and seen those DJs play.
That's true as well, because we didn't have Spotify, so you had that person,
Spotify, YouTube, or anything,
picking those tunes to show you. He's gone through crates of music to give you the best of the best.
And that's
whereas
when,
now you just like some gronks.
And that's what builds
Top
up
10.
builds up your fan base. Yeah. So Angels, by Attention in My Dreams.
Yeah, of course.
I love that.
Go on,
track.
do that again.
No, one time. So Chester played that song in the mornings, and I knew that if I listened to it at that rave, I couldn't listen to it until the next time I see Chester.
Yeah.
So I would look at flyers going, Chester's playing at this club. We're going to this club. And we will listen to that song. Sandstorm, when Sandstorm came out, nobody can hear it anywhere. Yeah. There's one DJ that had that record, and that was Pee Wee Ferris. So one night, we just loved that song. My friend and I went club hopping and rave hopping 4 times in that night just to watch Pee Wee play that. So we just followed Pee Wee around to all these clubs just so he can drop
That
one
is an
sandstorm.
amazing story. There's no way
brilliant.
that would happen
Right,
now.
no.
No,
Just to
absolutely
listen
not.
to the song.
Yeah.
Like, not even like people are like, yes.
And
And,
Darude Sandstone.
we finally, the last event was he played after Paul Van Dyke at Maroubra Seals that night. And I was like, going, oh, okay, can't wait to hear Sandstorm for the fourth time tonight. And the first track he drops, Sandstorm for you.
Yeah, job done. All right, we're out.
Yeah, let's go.
So you have toured an inordinate amount of DJs, and you've warmed up for them, you played after them. Have you kind of ever met your hero and it's not quite worked out?
No, because the heroes I have met was more the rave DJs, and I'm friends with now, and that would be Malak Ali, one of the biggest, I guess, rave icons back in the 90s, and just listen to his albums and everything. Finally getting to talk to him, he comes out, he's the nicest man in the world, so down to earth. And when we toured him, not last time, the one before, he goes, oh, I can't sleep at nights, so I just paint. I do paintings and everything. So he went out and bought canvases and started doing some paintings, and he did 2 paintings, and he goes to Rod and I, goes, here you go, this is for you and Rod. I was
Far
like,
out.
you're kidding me. And I put this up in my music
Was
room.
it a nude of you?
No, he was asleep.
Paint me like your French models.
And it's up in the music room and everything. And I just remember standing there looking at it going, shit.
Yeah.
Like Malak Ali from Ultrasonic, that's his painting
That's pretty mega.
in my room, my house, and he did it for me. I didn't buy it; he did it for me, and it was just overwhelming. Still to this day, we'll talk and we'll check in. It's like, "How are you going, Big T?"
Yeah.
He's just everything's just like he lives up to his reputation of just the nicest guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And over the years, so you've done the rave scene. We spoke a little bit about your R&B parties, and then you've done the trance bit. What were the crowds like? Are they very different crowds? What did you enjoy playing to one crowd more than the other?
Well, the R&B scene was good at the time because that's when R&B was big. It was late 90s, early 2000s.
Peaches and cream.
Peaches and cream.
Casey and JoJo.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, yep.
Yeah, no, we did a little bit cool.
Warren G Regulate.
That's it. Yeah,
We'll do that.
So it was around.
I'll go back to your mixtapes.
It was a time of the Olympic Games came on. And that's when High Energy, Wild FM,
Oh, donk. Love it.
and R&B were just the biggest music. It was either you listen to Energy or you listen to R&B. And R&B parties, I basically put that on so I can make money from it so I can fund my rave parties.
Yeah.
Completely different crowd, nice, and just there for the music, just want to dance and get drunk kind of stuff. And that was their pickup, and that was the R&B scene.
Dirty rubs.
That's it. The rave scene was more about the culture of it all, the music and everything like that, and DJs and production based.
Yeah.
R&B parties was where's the DJ? Like,
One down light.
I don't
Turn
really
it
care.
off, bro.
Exactly. And then moving into the trance scene, that's when it's more about the production, but it's more influence from overseas because when people now, the internet is here, people watch overseas videos and go, how come they have that?
Yeah,
and we
we
can't.
want that.
I mean, like, because their moving head costs $20.
Yeah.
Right? Ours costs $300.
Yeah.
Like the difference to do a production cost for
Really,
them.
does it come down to each individual unit as well?
Everything.
Like we're that much more expensive.
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%. So if you wanted to get something like 20 moving heads, that would be $1,000 or something.
What do you mean moving head? What does that mean?
The lights,
lights
the
are
lighting.
right, sorry.
So would you go through and go, okay, we need to cut down. How are we going to cut down? Well, we can cut down from 50 moving heads down to 30 moving heads. Okay, cool. But we'll scatter them around. We'll use bounce mirrors and make it a little bit different. We'll use this trussing and things like that. We had to learn to cut down. When the budget's always there at the beginning, but of course, if ticket sales are not selling.
Yep.
But me, I never held back. If I knew that I was going to lose money, I would lose money because I promised my punters that this is what they're going to get. I'm not going to go back down going, well, we're going to lose 20 grand. But if I cut the production down, I'm going to save money. I lost the 20 grand.
Yeah.
Because they came to the party because I knew later on it will be beneficial.
So did the social media piece kind of impact that a bit more? So if you did do, I don't want to say a bad event, if you didn't sell out or if the event wasn't rammed and you lost money, and does that start to impact momentum going forward?
Definitely.
Whereas back in the day, if it
you're
got shut
only as
down,
good
people
as your
didn't know.
last party.
Yeah.
And they always say that because people don't remember or go back and go, oh, he was a good person back in 90, so I'm sure that he's going to do good parties. You're only really good if you can't prove yourself every single time, then that means you're dropping. And times happen like that. We did drop the ball, or not, like, we didn't get the numbers, and we felt like how do we recover from this?
Fuck, that must hurt.
It did, and Genesis was more. Fantasia was a maximum of $80,000 to $90,000 budget. It wasn't that expensive, but the ticket price was, as you've seen, was really cheap. So that's still that variance of trying to get those numbers. Then Genesis came in, and in 2012, we only did maybe 6 events, and they were the Metro Theatre and was internationals like Cosmic Gates.
Yeah, I remember them too. Awesome.
And it was selling out. And every single time we sold out, we're like, okay, we're making good money, and that money would basically come into our account and go straight out into another tour. So we wouldn't see that. So we would go, okay, we're going to get these internationals, and we have to pay a deposit now. That's 10 grand gone. International's not cheap. These guys are so expensive.
Pay their flights, their visa,
everything,
accommodation.
business class flights. And if they're doing a 2-week tour, you have to pay for like 11, 12 nights stay. And then the bigger the DJs, the more they had to do. So
and to maybe break that down. So if you've got, let's say, Cosmic Gate, if you're touring them, you want to make sure that they get a Brisbane, a Queensland gig, a WA gig,
definitely.
Victoria gig.
And if they don't, then it's not really worth it them coming out.
Yeah.
And you got to make sure that the promoters that you choose to do these parties are going to fulfill the promise and actually deliver a good show. You can't just go, oh yeah, you go up a party in Brisbane, there's 100 people, where another promoter could have got 1,000 people. So you got to really choose carefully of who you tour with. And if a promoter in Brisbane will say, oh, look, I've only got $1,000 and that's it. If you go, well, I can't, it's either they don't get any gig, they don't come, give them a gig for $1,000 and then you have to pay the rest of it. And that's what Sydney was always. Sydney and Melbourne was always paid the most amount of money for internationals. So anyway, so in 2013, I remember going to Nick and went, we need a weekly event because we got a lot of international DJs, but we can't put them on and we can't get 1,000 people for these guys. So we need something to do. And we ended up touring Artie and Matt Zoe. We had the Fox Studios booked in, and then we went down to Home Nightclub. For some reason, I was there. And Susanna was like, why don't you bring the party here? I was like, oh, can I? She's like, yeah, of course. So this was on, I think it was on Easter, something in 2013, doing Arnie Matzo, and because it was at Home Nightclub and it was bigger and still prestige, we ended up getting a lot more people than we would at Fox Studios. And then that's when we went, why don't we just take over Friday nights and start running it again? So it came up with like, what do we call it? And Voodoo was going to be called Eden. And everything was going to be like Eden, Genesis presents Eden, everything like that. But then I just went back and went, well, Sublime's such a passionate like brand to me. Why don't we just keep it as Voodoo? And that's it. Friday nights is just Voodoo, not Sublime, but Voodoo. So they agreed to it, and we ended up just running Voodoo for the next 4 years or 5 years, and then having all the internationals coming through, working along with the guys from Hardware, Future Entertainment, and they all had internationals for all the big festivals. So they had to they needed to find club shows as well. So we ended up doing all the club shows. So we were happy just doing Voodoo with the internationals. And if you have a look at the book, I had to try break my record, and Tonto always says that he goes, how many did you get? I went, dude, I got 49 internationals this year. I wanted 52, just one every week. And then the following year, he goes, how many did you get? I went, 60. He's like, whoa. And it was just getting so many internationals. Sometimes I'll be like, yep, I just got 3 internationals one night. We got Jordan Suckley and 2 other DJs on. And everyone's like, what? Yeah. Because even though as much as I love all the younger, the smaller DJs, not the big mainstream DJs, you put them on and they might get 100 people buying tickets, but you put them on with 3 other internationals and there's your 500 tickets sold. Yeah. So it became more, okay, we can't tour one DJ, we have to tour 3. And then touring now then became a whole new side of Genesis Industries. So we ended up, Genesis kind of grew into this bigger office where Cara and I ran the touring side. Simon Lovell ran all the marketing. Nick took care of all the promotion. And together we just worked as a team really well. We ended up getting a couple other people like Edwin coming in, running the up and coming DJs, and we had this office in Bella Vista, and about 7 staff people, 8 people working in the office, and we're all busy. We were busy, and then of course I got bored because Like everyone, so I just wanted to create more and more events, and I didn't want to do club shows because that was my time back in the day, and I wanted to do events. So what we did is we ran all the events with all the internationals, and then we ended up doing all the bigger events and started off, and that's when we started Genesis White. And Genesis White happened at the the Greenwood Hotel.
Greenwood, yeah.
And we had who was the DJs? Ben Nicky, Tanisha, Alex Morph, Mark Sixma, and that was good. That was a great party. Everyone in white. It was like 1,500 people there or something, and it was good. And then the next step went, okay, let's go the big top, and then end up doubling the lineup of Maya Levy, Minna Diong, doing this whole entire theme production. Every DJ had their own introduction about the chakras of the color, because if you actually mix all the colors together, it implodes and becomes white. So it was a whole storyline. Toby Matrix did everything for the intros. It was just beautiful, and people were going, Genesis just stepped it up.
Yeah.
It just went from this much small show to this. And then we ended up going, okay, let's go bigger. And then went going to the next step up, and then we went, okay, Horton Pavilion, Subculture, and then selling 5,000 tickets. And going, oh my goodness,
Crazy.
this is
That was insane. That was awesome.
And then it was like, let's go bigger.
Yeah.
Let's see how far we can go. And then finally, and Nick was saying, "Is we'll do this." I went, "No, I'm doing Kudos Bank Arena. That's it. I have to do it."
Which was the dream. It was the dream.
This is it. We're finally doing it all. And Nick, of course, he always believed in me, and he's always my rock in that time. And we supported each other so much during Genesis. And he's like, "I'm with it. Like, if you want to do it, let's go for it." So we ended up going and doing, getting God's Kitchen, the brand, and ended up doing the final God's Kitchen ever.
Yeah.
At Kudos Bank Arena, and the production was huge. The DJ lineup was like ATB, Cosmic Gay, Susanna, Shivers, when she sang Shivers. Oh my goodness.
There's a moment. There's a definite moment.
Yeah, Simon Patterson. And it was just big. It was just huge. And I just went, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah, where do you go from there?
Where do you go from there? So
I've got to ask, how do you ring up Kudos? Like, what's the number to ring to book the Kudos? Like, it's not like, hello, bookings. It's like, surely there's not someone waiting on the phone.
I've got a birthday party. Can I have the whole place?
How do you ring up to book that?
I found out who the manager was. So I emailed directly and I introduced who I was and gave all my reference of websites and everything. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, sure, come down and speak to us. And then we went down and spoke to him. And he's like, yeah, done. He goes, you can do the party there. He goes, it's going to cost you though. Yeah. Simple as that. He goes, it's going to cost you. He goes, just for these guys to walk in the back door, because it's going to cost you $5,000. I'm like, oh, we end up, the medical bill, just to have medical there at God's Kitchen, we had to basically set up all these beds we had to have a doctor and a nurse on during the event, and medical with ambulance and everything ended up costing us $40,000 just for medical. Do you know what happened on the night? One person got a Band-Aid.
Wow, that's a good spend.
And, and one person,
which is a good thing.
Band-Aid, and one person got an asthma attack, so he needed a puffer. That was it. Wow. And you see all these first aid officers, the doctor and the nurse just standing there in an empty room filled with beds and everything ready.
Just listen to
and that was it. I was just sitting there going, wow, that was $40,000.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. It's good that there's $40,000 and nothing happened.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. So, but it's one of those things that's the financial stress.
The nerd in me, I've got to ask, right? So you go in there. Where's the stacks? Like, do you have all the access to all of the audio equipment?
No.
How does it work? You have to bring all that in.
You have to bring everything in. You have to come up with the design, the idea, sit down with the production manager, and that's when my creativity comes in. Yeah. Because I love the fact that I can sit down and design the flyer I want. I can arrange the lineup I want, the musical times of who's starting, who's playing, what theatrics we're going to have during the night, and what the production is going to look like. Working with friends, Weaver's always been by my side since day one. Yeah. In the office, saying, well, we can do this, and this. And working with production managers through that time, saying, okay, we can do this. What's your budget? Well, nothing. So create something from nothing. Let's go. And I remember walking up the stairs of the Kudos Bank Arena and seeing my friends like, hey, how you going? He goes, dude, turn around. Yeah. And I just turned around and just seen this sea of people and went, this is it. Yeah. This is the time when I walked in with Baxter. Yeah. Playing Make It Funky. Yeah. I'm standing right here, right now, going, I've done that. This is it. And all of a sudden, just like everything, the chills came in. And I was like, this is the best. And of course, to end off the night, Minna Diong played Silence, Tiesto remix. I was like, done.
What's been like the biggest oh shit moment?
Definitely that. I would have to say, just to say that you have a goal in life and you finally just tick it off.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what we did. And Genesis was the one that started from Havana and Oxford Street, Greenwood, to Luna Park, to Horton Pavilion, to Kudo's Bank Arena. And just to see that of working hard to get there. And it didn't take long. It just took a lot.
Must have felt really fast.
It was fast. It was so fast that sometimes it felt like we couldn't handle it because it built up to this like juggernaut of an event or brand that we just didn't know what to do. And every single time that we go, we're not going to do this party or do this international, some other promoters are going, oh, I'll take that international. And then if they did that international, then it will affect us again on the Friday night and we lose numbers. And then people go, okay, well, that person's coming in. And then other overseas internationals will go, let's go with this person and do it all. So we kind of had to, we have to take every act. We just have to do every single act. And even though I felt bad for other promoters going, I can't get international because Genesis has it all, it was like, well, if we don't, then it's a business now.
Yeah.
And we just have to do it. But we had the capability of doing. We had a club, we had events, we can do it all.
Did you enjoy the events or more the planning of the events?
More the planning. Yeah. The events itself.
You're not really present. You're there.
Yeah, you're there, running it all.
You're there, but you're not really
Nick was
present.
there. Nick was like going, "Hi, everyone." Where's Nick gone? Nick's gone already. Smoke bomb it gone. Typical Nick. But yeah, I love being there for the event, setting up and packing down and everything. And I think to see that creation of building something, seeing it live, seeing happy faces, people taking photos, videos, and now looking back on old photos and everything, that was 10 years ago. I'm like, I created that memory. And that's what we do. You create memories for people.
100%. What's the most peculiar act that you've ever had?
Hard.
Have you had Yoji?
Yeah, I had Yoji Biomechanica. Yeah. He that is probably peculiar. He came on. So I had this.
He looks the part.
I had this idea of I wanted to bring back hard trance,
and
because it was a dead sound, hard trance evolved into hard style,
nuclear's tidy tracks, all that, like that sort of stuff.
So I thought, okay, I'm going to do Legacy because Legacy is like my legacy, and I thought, okay, I'll do hard trance, and I did the revolution of hard trance is upon us, and I did Yoji Biomechanica, Derb, Hens and Cold, and someone. I was like 3 of the DJs. And Yoji came on and the speaker was like cutting in and out. And he was just like going, and I come on stage and he gets the speaker and starts kicking the speaker and throws it off and everything. I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, get over it. I just went like that, went, turned away, went, there, bro. It's like, just turn the volume. Like, what are you doing?
Just relax, bro.
Okay, princess.
Far out.
Yeah. So we've had a lot of DJs, a lot of princesses, and a lot of really down to earth guys.
Yeah.
Ori Nilsson, probably the nicest guy you meet.
He looks like a really nice guy.
Oh, he came out and he always say that he's you're the first one that put me on in Australia, and he will always check in and see how Olivia is, and always ask her how his daughter is, and just beautiful. We wrote a track together actually. Never released it, but we had that time together, and he's one of the nicest guys.
You started to write music again. I saw something you post recently that.
Yes. So back in the day, I guess when we started, it was all energy. So I used to produce for Wild FM and produce tracks like The Morning After and Fiesta with Sam G.
No way.
Fiesta. So we did all those tracks, and
my jam.
and then I started producing Happy Hardcore because of the rave scene. Did a remix of Sweet Release and a couple other tracks. Then I just stopped producing. I just like, that's it. I'm kind of like more focused on promoting.
Yeah.
And I remember DJ Casey, Scratch.
Yeah.
Best scratcher in Australia. He was saying,
Take that, Archie.
yeah, Archie. He said that when you start DJing, you're either going to go to promoting or you're going to go producing. All DJs go either left or right.
Yeah.
And it's very rare that you see someone always trying to do the same thing at the same time because your passion goes to one way or another. Every time I was producing, I kept on feeling that my promoting was more important, and I just had that love of designing and that creativity. I think it was more of the visual look of everything I wanted to do. So I kind of stopped for a while, and only recently, and I'm talking maybe 3 months ago, I've come back in to do all the energy style.
Yeah.
So after basically just to sum up my whole entire promoting career, after Genesis finished in 2017, I went back to uni full time and finished my degree off. So 10 years basically of uni part time while I was running Genesis.
Yeah.
I was still going to uni, lecture halls, and listening to lectures and
Love
doing
that.
my assignments. Coming back to the office, trying to do all that. Going, wait a second, I do write this email to book and Marcus Schultz. Okay, what's this? Okay, this is an assignment. I've got to go to the library. Got to get books. So I finished 2008, and then in 2019 I came and became a teacher and started doing primary school teaching. And in 2019, I got a job as a Year 6 classroom teacher at my daughter's school, which is my old primary school up the road for me.
Awesome.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
So then in 2018, Alex Kay has been a good friend of mine for about 25 years. Yeah. And about 2016, he came to me and goes, I actually wanted to do the Wild FM party. And then Alex wanted to do it as well. And then Jamie from Central Station Records goes, you and Alex want to do the same brand at the same time. Because this brand has been sitting here and you guys haven't done anything with it. So then Alex goes, bro, I'd love to do the party with you. And that's when magic happened. We did a party. It was perfect. I ended up being creative and doing everything. So he just goes, you're good at what you do. I'll take care of the music side of it all. And it was a match made in heaven. And we have not changed since. Yeah. So we ended up running Decadence and starting a new brand called Decadence. Yeah. Because of all those old brands, DCM and Temple and everything that everyone's used to go to. So Decadence was that new energy brand, art house, and then we finally found a home at Universal nightclub, which was called The Shift back in the day. Mm-hmm. And 500 people coming there and listening to the same music that was 25 years ago. Like In My Eyes, Medical Incorporated, you'll see an 18-year-old just belt it out, and I'm like, this song was made 7 years before you were born.
Yeah.
And they're just singing it because energy has not died at all.
No way, really.
It's just like that. Everyone just still knows all the Wild FM songs. Like, you need to come to it.
Yeah, but like I love that music.
I love it too. So we ended up still doing all the Wild FM parties. At Greenwood Hotel and everything. That was successful. 1,800 people, people loving it. And just it was a pure Wild FM. Yeah. And then we go to Decadence, it's a little bit harder. Alex has been in the studio writing some new music. Then there's people like Rada, KCB, Charlie Brown, and we're all that kind of family now that we've been friends for 25 years. We're all at each other's houses all the time before. So we built our relationship on friendship because we started DJing, but now we're all working together to do our events. And now Decadence is a brand that Alex K and I run. And so I just realized that on that flyer, there was Alex K, Rada, Charlie, KCB, all producers, all producing music. And I'm there going, oh, what do I have to hear? I'm just a DJ. I went, okay, you know what? I need to go back and write some music. And so I started writing Energy and Donk.
Man, I can't wait. I can't wait.
So I've got about 10 tracks written and everything. Doing well so far. So.
And when's the next party?
COVID?
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's right.
We're trying to...
Sometimes I just...
It's on Twitch. It's on Twitch.
We've been talking about parties for so long. I'm like, far out. Well, I'm ready to go now.
Yeah. Soon, hopefully, because we're waiting for the restrictions to lift up because we were going to run New Year's Eve. Mm-hmm. Everything was perfect running New Year's Eve. And we were having it at Cafe Del Mar and Avalon cluster happened. And we just had to go, okay, well, we have to stop the event. Or a lot of friends had to cancel events. It felt like we were going backwards because you lose money. You spend money on marketing, nobody's going to refund that. No. Or return it to you. So we're now waiting for next week or the week after for Gladdy to go 50 people dancing. That's all we need. Yeah. It's just 50 people on the dance floor. People can have booths and then we can go, you know what, people on the booths, you come to the dance floor and we can just rotate and that's it. But yeah, it's just, we'll get there. It's frustrating.
Absolutely, we'll get there.
So that's it, and that's where we are.
Mate, it's one hell of a journey. I love the fact you bought all your flyers.
I just thought, just...
Do you have them all digital, by the way?
No, I don't.
Because a lot of those things that you've pulled out right there, I've been at a lot of those parties, and it's really tear-jerking.
Yeah, look, I will. This was like yesterday. I thought, oh, you know what? I need to bring something because it's hard to explain to people where if you don't see something.
Yeah, of course.
I can say, oh, I did this party, and you'll be like, okay, that's cool. But to actually see the flyer,
I'm so glad you brought all that stuff in because it's really, it's fucking nostalgic.
Well, I think you were going to have the day on the scanner, aren't you?
Done. Are you scanning it for me? Done.
You can scan it. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it's
For
a
a second,
rhetorical
I'm
question.
like, what the fuck's a scanner? I was like, that's
Jeez.
Yeah.
just take photos, bro. Convert to fucking PDF.
Well, mate, it's been an awesome journey. And I've been privileged to not only attend a lot of your events, but play. So has this man as well. And it's been awesome to see you guys just keep the scene alive. And I know you will continue to do that because you're clearly passionate about it.
Definitely.
You definitely have the following. So before we wrap it up, I'm going to ask my question.
Okay.
And that is, you've got a table booked for 4. You're one of them. You can have 3 guests. Who are they going to be and why?
Hillary Duff.
Yeah.
Hillary Duff, why?
That was my one.
Because I just have an obsession with Hillary Duff.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Good to know.
I don't know now. Put me on the spot.
More of a date night with you and Hillary.
I think it's just the 2. Can we just leave the 2?
Everyone else leave.
I'll just keep it at Hillary.
Yeah, that's it.
Hillary and her 2 sisters.
That's it.
Her 2 twin sisters. Awesome.
Thank you very much, mate, for coming on. That
No,
was
thank you so much.
absolutely fantastic.
Appreciate it.
How can people get hold of you, mate? If people want to learn more about Decadence, or just have you got a Facebook page?
Yeah, I guess Instagram is probably the best way these days. And focus on it's just Thomas Knight Music for all social medias, Facebook and everything.
And that's who you're going to be releasing the new music on under?
No, so it's Thomas Knight Stayed
Yeah.
and Energy. I've just kept it as Thomas Knight, and most of the songs will be released on Dinky Records, which is Central Station. So
Awesome. Central Station.
Yeah, so Thomas Knight Music at Instagram, and best way.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into this week's Lifestyle Pirates. Don't forget to check it out on YouTube, Spotify, YouTunes.
YouTunes, what is
YouTunes.
that? That's a new one.
You can edit that.
I'm
Press
keeping that
that
in.
button.
I'm keeping that in. Thanks.